I'm starting. Pratik Joshi, please unmute. Yourself. So I'm starting. Good evening, the Nature's Eye. And today, on behalf of the Nature's Eye, I would like to welcome you in this webinar presentation on the artificial intelligence in biodiversity conservation. So next slide, please. So today, let me give you a brief idea about what is the Nature's Eye. So what is going about exactly? So we, as the Nature's Eye, powered by Wildlife Arc, is a group of nature enthusiasts who wish to share our knowledge and experience with the world. We strive to bring informative and educational content from the living world to the city dwellers. And our motto is to empower environmentalists everywhere. We aim to create opportunities for young environmentalists and people who are related to this field through our various programs. And this program workshop is one such, and there will be a number of events in line. Next slide, please. So today's webinar is all about artificial intelligence and how it helps us towards biodiversity conservation. I assume we all know the rising need of moving towards sustainable growth, and biodiversity conservation basically deals with the preservation of diversity of species, sustainable utilization of species and ecosystem. And today we'll get the idea how modernization or digitalization can help us in saving our ecosystem. Next slide. Today, as for speakers, we have Ms. Vashu Verma and Ms. Anjusha Suki. Ms. Vashu Verma is an environmentalist with knowledge in GIS and remote sensing. She has monitored the wetlands of Delhi using geospatial techniques and worked on the impacts of anthropogenic activities on wildlife using TAL and GIS. And Ms. Anjusha Suki, she is an enthusiastic researcher and has training experience in forest entomology, in pest control, and also GIS. So recently, she was in KFRI ICLEI project, Biodiversity Study, Kochi Corporation, and many other NGO activists. She is also a writer in scientific magazines and is a blogger, and she is also a freelancer. Next slide. That's all for the intro. As for the rules, here are a few things to keep in mind. Mic should be on mute at all times. Please don't turn on your mics in between, as it creates a lot of disturbance. And if we see that there are disturbance in between, the host will be forced to make the participant leave the meeting or take some strict action. And if there's any questions, you can anytime put it up at the chat box. We'll be keeping a track on that, or you can wait till the webinar ends and you can ask directly to the speaker. That's all for the intro. Now I give over my platform to Ms. Anjusha. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone, this is Vashu Verma, and today I'm going to start this presentation on artificial intelligence importance in biodiversity and conservation. Can we do it in the presentation mode?
It is not visible. It's in a PPT mode.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay, Vasu.
Give me a minute. I'll share the screen.
Okay, fine.
So, is it visible, everyone? I hope it is visible. So, give me a minute. Yeah, we are going to present you artificial intelligence importance in biodiversity and conservation. So, when we speak about artificial intelligence, first question arises is what is AI? Well, this is not necessarily a straightforward question. It depends on who you ask. Well, this is a technique which enables machines to mimic human behavior. What it means? Which is a technique that allows machines to act like humans by replicating their behavior and nature. AI makes it possible to learn about their experience. The machines adjust their response based on new inputs, nearby performing human like tasks by processing large amounts of data and recognizing them. All the existing artificial intelligence applications which we see around us falls under this category. Well, there are three types, actually four types of artificial intelligence. Four are functioning, and these are based on capabilities. Okay, so first is artificial narrow intelligence. It includes an AI system that can perform narrowly defined specific tasks just like humans. However, these machines cannot perform tasks for which it was not programmed beforehand. So they fall at performing an unprecedented task. Based on the classification mentioned above, this system is a combination of all reactive and limited memory of AI. AI algorithm that we use in today's world to perform the most complex predictive modeling fall under this category of AI. And then next is artificial general intelligence. What is this? Artificial general intelligence has the capability to train, learn, understand, and perform functions just like a normal human does. These systems will have multifunctional capabilities cutting across different domains. These systems will be more agile and will react and improve just like humans while facing unprecedented scenarios. There is no real world example of this kind of AI. But yes, a good amount of progress has been made in this field. And the last one is artificial super intelligence. Artificial super intelligence will be the topmost point of AI development. It will be the most potent form of AI intelligence to ever exist on this planet. Why? Because it will be able to perform all the tasks better than humans because of its inordinately superior data processing memory and decision making ability. Some of the researchers fear that the advent of ASI will ultimately result in technology singularity. It is a hypothetical situation in which the growth in technology will reach an uncontrollable stage, resulting in an unimaginable change in human civilization. Well, there are two more aspects in artificial intelligence, which are kind of subparts of artificial intelligence. And they are machine learning and deep learning. We can describe it as an AI is the broader umbrella under which ML and DL come. So, what is ML? ML, it is an important of AI that provides the AI system with the ability to automatically learn from the environment and applies the learning to make better decisions. There are a variety of algorithms that machine learning uses to iteratively learn, describe, and improve data in order to predict better outcomes. Whereas DL is the next generation of machine learning. We can say that it's a subset of machine learning. Deep learning models can make their own prediction entirely independent of humans. You all have must seen the YouTube part when you search a video and you see one or two types of video. Then next feed you will see on YouTube that will be related to that thing which you have seen. This is because of deep learning. What deep learning do is actually model. It is a model use artificial neural networks. The design of this network is inspired by the biological neural network of the human brain. It analyzes data with the logical structure similar to how a human would draw.
Muted. Okay, bye bye.
So next is need of conservation. Why do we need to conservation? Why do we need to conserve biodiversity? Everyone knows this answer, but I'm just going for basic things in this thing. Biodiversity requires our attention for two reasons. First, it provides a wide range of indirect benefits to humans, and second, humans' activities have been contributing to unprecedented rates of biodiversity loss, which threaten the stability of ecosystem in terms of the provision of goods and services of humans. Consequently, In recent years, many studies of biodiversity and its loss have appeared. Why it occurs? Basically, the land use, land cover change such as deforestation, agriculture expansion, and urbanization, are among the biggest drivers of biodiversity loss. These changes not only result in decline of wildlife population and fragmentation, but they result in fragmentation of habitats, but they also increase environmental risk such as erosion of erosion, soil fertility, and increase in advances, landslides and flooding, especially in mountain areas. The drivers of loss of biodiversity and the drivers of change in ecosystem services are either steady, show no evidence of declining over time, or are increasing in intensity. Biodiversity is playing a vital part of solution to climate change. In the aggregate and at a global scale, there are 5 indirect drivers of changes in biodiversity and ecosystem services, which are demographic, economic, socio-political, cultural, and religious, and scientific and technological. Although biodiversity and ecosystem services experience change due to natural causes, current change is dominated by these anthropogenic indirect drivers, which can be more than, like, we can't count them. Okay, we all know that biodiversity is good for economic purposes, and this provides so much functioning, like cultural functions, and yeah. So our next slide, AI in biodiversity data analysis. So here what actually starting. The biggest challenge is to keeping track of biodiversity data. First of all, what is biodiversity data? The geographic distribution, genetic and phenotypic traits, as well as ecological interactions, so biological entities, collectively known as biodiversity data. Actually, biodiversity is disappearing at a really rapid rate. Why? Because there's so much of vast data and so little of amount to work on them. No, like little of methods to work on them. The rate with which we can afford to study and monitor threatened population. Approximately 1/4 of the 967 animals, plants, and fungi assessed by the International Union of Conservation of Nature are classified as threatened with extinction, and another 10% are data deficient. Well, data deficiency is prevalent for fishes, invertebrates, plants, and fungi. Conserving these data limited species is a challenge for scientists and policymakers because they lack the information needed to apply standardized criteria for declines. Precautionary measures of protection could be used if declines are suspected, but precaution is difficult to justify when species exploitation for food, medicine, or other goods sustains many livelihoods. So, what we can do to fill this gap? We can use AI, yes. As the need for monitoring species, habitats, and ecosystem increases, so too do the ways in which scientists and managers involve personnel and technology to collect, process, and analyze both sample data. With advances in technology and capacity to collect big data sets, data processing has become a major bottleneck that requires novel solutions. Now we can come up with some examples which can better explain these things. In Northeast India's biodiversity hotspot that are home to rare flora and fauna such as the Hullo gibbon and the Fires leaf monkey. These are Bangalore-based research organization, and these has been gathering data on plant biodiversity and animal groups as well as mapping the ecosystem. Alongside, it has been wondering how to make sense of the data collected given the limited resource at its disposal. And in Hyderabad, researchers have been trying to devise a method to predict a pest attack, so farmers can be warned in advance. So how can we do this? Is there any technology to do this? Yes, there is. That's why we are conducting this webinar on AI so that we can show you the importance of AI in biodiversity and conservation. Well, in both these cases, artificial intelligence has come to the rescue. Why? It has been said by the director of Ashoka Trust of Research in Ecology and Environment, Mr. Nitin Pandit. He says that their researchers are developing a machine learning algorithm in the cloud space of Microsoft Azure to facilitate bioresources at last for the region. He also adds that the shortage of trained human resources in the documentation of biodiversity is a major impediment, and AI tools boosted the efforts of documenting biodiversity data. So through these, we can help, we can store the data, we can store maximum data. And the major role which is playing, which the major role we are seeing in this is deep learning. Deep learning can play the major role in extracting the data, and which also help in predicting the future results and for excuse me, predicting the results for human wildlife conflict, like how we can control these conflicts or how we can lease them. Now next slide is about these conflicts. Next slide, this slide is about management of wildlife, which actually is an important topic in today's era. Why? Because wildlife is playing a major role in, like, it's keystone, key species for our environment. Why? First of all, I'm going to discuss about wildfire. Then there is human wildlife conflict and wildlife crime. These three things are the major threat which should be controlled. So we are using AI in this system so that we can control these things. For wildfire, it is a growing concern. Why? It is a growing concern for rural and urban areas. Statistics shows that intensity and negative consequences of wildfire has increased in recent decades, creating serious challenges for fire and emergency services, as well as communities in the wildland urban interface. Forest fire break out in India from November to May every year due to various neutral and anthropogenic reasons, including accumulation of inflammable materials such as the dry leaves, twigs, pine needles, etc. These can be due to human behaviors, like you all know about jhum cultivation. There can be so threat. It can be so threat, and we have seen the trend in Nagaland. So we can discuss about it later. If we talk about some example, then this is 22.7 times. Then we have seen the forest fire in 2019 and 2020. What we seen in between these two fires, which was in November 2019 and June 2020, that the fire was 2.7 times more than the forest fire report between these two times, like November 2019 and June 2020. This include large, continuous and repeated forest fire. The country has seen this increase after a decrease in forest fire counts in the last two most recent forest seasons, November 2018, June 2019, and November 2019 to June 2020. Then Odisha reported the maximum fires among all states, which was 51,968, followed by Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. These are the area which was affected by the forest fire. Uttarakhand recorded the sixth highest fire counts in the country. Incidences were up 28.3 times this forest fire season compared to last. So what we can do to reduce these factors, to reduce these problems? Again, AI plays a major role in detection, analysis, and evacuation. These three measures are important, to reduce the life safety risk of wildlife and enhance the safety of communities threatened by wildfire. It is important to understand the physical and social dynamic characterizing wildfire. Okay. Such an understanding will help to improve the design of the built environment in communities and enhance emergency planning by incorporating actual household evacuation behavior. This incorporation of novel knowledge on evacuation behavior will ultimately facilitate safe and effective evacuation during wildfire emergency. To address this challenge, several wildfire evacuation models have been proposed in the literature, and a comprehensive review on the modeling approaches was provided by Rochi, who is a scientist, and he's writing in the literature. The most significant role of an AI in firefighting is in detection and analysis, finding isolated fires in distant locations, tracking them, and determining what provided the initial ignition. So these can be the solution through which we can detect or we can predict the fire, and at least we can control it. Maybe we can't stop it, but we can control it. So this detection can be done using traditional and thermal imaging through cameras, drones, and satellites. Drones are cheaper and with greater precision to help create barriers against active wildfires by carefully depriving those fires of fuels that they could use to expand. Machine learning acts as an eye and helps the system watch a fire and forecast how it might continue to burn and what resource will be most effective in fighting it. It uses GPS to identify the locations of firefighters and warns of dangerous fish flashovers before they happen, which is actually important thing. Technology called radar, we all know, like not all know, but some of us will know about radar. So radar, which is combined artificial intelligence, imaging from satellites, and a host of data sources of wildfire. Forest fire monitoring by remote sensing can be achieved through the use of polar orbiting and geostationary satellites. The polar orbiting satellites that are used in fire detection and monitoring include MODIS, AVHR, ASTER, and Landsat. When Landsat can be used in detection of land use land cover change, we can map the changes for 10 years, 20 years, depends on our findings, depends on our research. Well, we have some examples which I already discussed. So we can say that AI provides a novel approach to manage these all conflicts. Okay, Wi-Fi. Okay, yeah, I discussed this thing. So this is the method that I already recall, a conceptual framework for integrating AI with existing wildfire evacuation modeling. So there can be two types. One is conceptual model and second is engineering model. For conceptual model, this is based on concepts, and for engineering model, there are another two types, choice models and traffic models. By combining AI with engineering, we can predict the wildfire and we can use in evacuation so that we can evacuate people to less harm, so that there would be less harm. Now, moving to the next slide. Yeah. So before explaining this, let me address some example. In October last year, officials discovered a maggot-infested body of Solo, which was a young tigress in Bandhavgarh National Park in India. This was a case suspected poisoning. Her death was a testament to how conventional wildlife conservation methods have failed. Yeah, it's right. Hundreds of animals lose their lives to varied causes. These causes can be floods, fire, and poisoning to poaching every year. In India alone, 74 animal species are critically endangered, and the country ranks on the global shame list. Many of these animals are keystone species whose extinction can collapse entire ecosystems and food cycles. So conventional and exhausting methods of surveillance have failed us. How? Let's see. Existing and conventional wildlife monitoring systems and methods of surveillance are insufficient and inefficient. They are either incapable of scaling or are physically exhaustive. Fortunately, the application of technology in wildlife and biodiversity preservation comes as a ray of hope. Yes, we can see that Applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning can change the dynamics of the field in favor of these threatened species. AI and algorithm fit for the wild. How? Artificial intelligence is useful in understanding in the repeated behavior in animals and can predict about them, which can result in reproduction patterns, foraging routes, and hunting habits. Well, every animal exhibits the same basic behavior. That's why AI can be a great success. An algorithm fit for wildlife surveillance needs to be trained on a large volume of metadata, including millions of images, sounds, and routes. Artificial intelligence is versatile. It can be molded into various algorithms and can be used for surveillance, image capturing, security, animal counting, controlling poaching, and results. Well, this is my favorite concept, an eagle's eye for the wild. Yes, conventionally done by forest rangers, tracking animals is exhaustive and has to room for errors. Rangers are not equipped well enough to deal with the task regularly. Also, the ratio of ranger to the area of territories that they need to monitor is humongous. Well, artificial intelligence enables robots or drones with image datasets and processing can help wildlife conservation authorities to keep track of animal population. Computers to count how it can work. Algorithms used for animal detection are similar to 2D bounding box annotation. Service for machine learning. Animals in a single class needs to be more precisely identified. Semantic segmentation coupled with image annotation is the best and correct technique to approach counting an animals. The method makes multiple animals detectable by using computer vision algorithm to localize the object. It can visualize different animals in a single class or single entity, helping participation to learn from it and separating it from its natural surroundings. Well, what's new is that AI-based technology are catching on big time across Indian research organization. How? Let's see. It's working on environment and conservation. These organizations are being backed by big ticket funding programs such as Microsoft's AI for Earth, a $50 million 5-year program that has 8 participants from India. This support has also been forthcoming from the central government with recently approved a 400 crore national artificial intelligence center that is scheduled to be functioning from July this year. Every snare removed means a potential saving of elephant life. It's not just about making predictions about poaching threats, but PAWS, it is also assist rangers to design the most effective patrol routes even in tough terrains. This enables the most effective use of manpower available. Well, PAWS has been successfully applied in Southeast Asia as well as China, but has not made it into India yet. However, companies such as Teradata India are working with the Indian government to apply AI to prevent poaching. Well, on this, Soma Das, the managing director of Teradata India, she says, we are actively engaged in wildlife conservation and protection using AI-driven predictive analysis on wildlife movement, tracking and monitoring their health to avoid the spread of any disease. We are also protecting wild animals from poachers through continuously monitoring thermal and video images and analysis on common behavior using machine learning techniques. Apart from preventing wildlife crime, AI is also being used to protect habitats. Well, in this, Chintan Chadwick, who is a researcher at Bangalore National Center for Biological Sciences, has been using AI to predict habitat cover in the Agnost Wildlife Sanctuary in Arunachal Pradesh and Chilika Lake in Orissa. He says AI makes the job easier and faster, especially when used within the Google Earth Engine platform. I no longer have to look at every satellite image, just some thoughtful code can predict land cover change across 30 years. Google Earth Engine is a powerful cloud computing platform that uses thousands of computers on a network to run analysis, making it phenomenally fast and efficient. So, AI can be more efficient, more sufficient in biodiversity and conservation. We already using such AI based techniques like eBird can be partially AI based. We can say that machine learning have been used in eBird, and the people who are belong to ornithology or bird trailing who love bird watching, they should be know about eBird. So yes, eBird is playing a major role, and we can see more updated version of eBird in future generation. There are other apps as well, like we use Wildbook. Wildbook is a basically audio specified version where we can we can transcript the audio, and we got to know about the animal or wildlife species through the audio. So yes, AI is developing at a vast rate, and we have some examples with us. So my my co will share those examples with you. Moving to the Anjusha.
Okay,
Anjusha, you can.
Vasu. Yeah. I'm there. And thanks, Vasu. This is such a great talk. And you please keep the presentation itself. Okay, so that I can start my video. Is that fine? Okay, Vasu. Thanks. So everyone, hi. I'm Anshu here, and I want to say that it's almost done. That the AI, what is AI, why the AI has to be used, and how is it works. Every part is already cleared by Vasu. So I'm simply going through some examples, like some case studies using this artificial intelligence, some successful applications developed by artificial intelligence. By the way, we all already using the artificial intelligence. As Google Assistant is one of the main example for AI. So summarizing what is AI, it's a blend of computer science, data analytics, and pure mathematics. So before going into this case study, I would like to know that share you that there are typical some terms like algorithms, epochs, models, ontologies. Pure already discussed by Vasu. So these are some terms. Simply, I'm not going to the too much detail, but telling you that like algorithms, epochs, models are some inputs which is given to the computer that how to process the data, and there are the image classification systems are there like networks. They will assess or analyzes the whole data and produces into a very simpler form. So this is the first case study using artificial intelligence in plant identification, and this paper also dealing this artificial intelligence as an innovative strategy for teaching food biodiversity. So here in this research paper, they developed a web-based app, NEIDE, that is neural identifier, using artificial intelligence, and it used convolutional neural network that I already said that is an architecture. So using this CNN architecture, they used a wide range of image classification system. They processed about a data set of 2,561 photos of 9 species, and then they tested with the ResNet and VGG architectures also in varying depth. These are also other architectures to create a more better results, more efficient results. So and then the results which is got from these architectures, that the models were pre-trained on the image data set. So the plants which they are photographed is uploaded into this web-based app, and using this network, they assess or identify which other plants are, and the image net data set is then fine-tuned using image classification systems, so that it will be easier to identify, like they are classifying them into up to species, genus, family, like that. So the data set is then fine-tuned and transfer the learning, that is the transfer learning, and so by this transfer learning it produces better results. In this research paper, it also they were also trying to say that the artificial intelligence is an innovative model, innovative strategy for teaching the biodiversity. for typical examples, there are a lot of botany graduates there. We studies, we will academically in certificates we will be passed. So how many of them are successfully can identify a plant? There requires this application of artificial intelligence, and they were explaining too much about this part, and it is very useful as a teaching method in the biodiversity conservation too. And from by this research paper, they got an accuracy results about 96.3%, and there is a photograph which is placed on the left side, and there is an Clitoria ternatia and Peperomia pellucidea. These two are unconventional food products. That means they having small market value, and they are visualized using GradCam visualization. It's a kind of visualization methods. There are a lot of the in artificial intelligence. One such is GradCam, and using this, it is applied. It is uploaded into the web-based app, and then identification is done, and it is processed. So this is the first research paper I like to share that using the artificial intelligence in the plant identification, and they using this chance for informing that the artificial intelligence is a very good innovative strategy for teaching the biodiversity of the importance of biodiversity conservation. So next slide, Mazul. Can you go for the next one? Do I need to present? Okay. Oh, no, second one. Okay, fine. So this is the second case. It's another research paper using this same artificial intelligence. Here it is for studying ecosystem services. So this research paper is very relevant in a way that why we need to study these ecosystem services. Simply saying that we hear a group of peoples, all are not science graduates. If does, not everyone can understand the concepts of nature. So there are some histories, some politicians, economics, a lot of groups are there, a lot of people are there. We living in a society, so we need to represent the whole data to them as how much it means. Simply saying that how much a plant can produce oxygen, or how much it does the carbon sequestration, and how much it will be a loss if we cut some plants. So economically to represent the whole data to them very easily, we have to study the ecosystem services, and in such studies artificial intelligence is very relevant. And so it's a very new tool for ecosystem service assessment, planning, and valuation. So in this research paper, they were using a spatial explicit models of ecosystem services provisions and use of dynamic flow models to describe the distribution of benefits across the landscapes. It means what are the ecosystem services are, what is the benefits, and who all are it is benefited, that is the beneficiaries. So there is a methodology they were using spatially explicit models and then combining it with the dynamic flow models to represent the data. So in the first step, the benefits and beneficiaries are determined by reasoning on the ARS. That means the area of interest is drawn on a web-enabled interface and then uploading it into a GIS file, listing the ecosystem services of interest and breakdowning them into benefits and beneficiaries. In the step 2, data needs a modeling determined, and all the data is combined with the metadata, and it is converted into a common representative form. And in the third step, they were using a probabilistic models, and also Bayesian network models are using for the provision, source, sink. I already tell you that there are a lot of network models using in this artificial intelligence. In the previous paper, we discussed about the CNN. Here, the Bayesian network models, they are architectures. They will produce these models that simply as an input to analyze the data. So in the fourth step, they were running the data in these models and results into an input as an input to assess the advanced delivery of services to beneficiaries. In the last step, they were integrating the whole data, integrated value assessment and an economic valuation is conducting. So this paper is dealing as a multi-scale approach on a display on flow dynamics, how from a source a sink the ecosystem services is growing in a flow dynamics model. So this is a very relevant research paper conducted. So the artificial intelligence as a role not in the conservation only, it also have a very relevant role in economic development planning indirectly by studying the ecosystem services. Okay, so we can go for the third one. Next slide. Okay, this is the third and last research paper I'd like to share with you. Using artificial intelligence. This is an integrating drone-borne thermal imaging with artificial intelligence to locate the bird's nest on agricultural land. The human populations are rising in a very fast way. So intensive agriculture is growing, and this intensive agriculturing leads to habitat explosion, habitat loss for a lot of animals, birds, insects, means of biosphere, a lot of bio things. So here the artificial intelligence is applying to study the effect. So here using the remote sensing and drones which are already placed with the thermal sensors, they using this remote sensing and drones capture the images. Then image annotation is done and it produces epochs. Epochs here in the first image in the left side, that is a training epochs. That is a performance. When we process the image annotation, it produces epochs. Epochs is, I already say that it's like an input which is given to the computer to how to analyze the data. And so the performance is based on 4 matrices. That is, one is precision, recall, MAP, and F1. I'm not going so detailed in with this precision, recall, MAP, and F1. Can you inform me that epochs are like inputs, and after processing the whole data, it produces these epochs. And studying these epochs, this research paper came to know that the system is very good at avoid the false positioning. False positioning means the temperature sensors are there, thermal sensors are there. So they are avoiding such cloud weather conditions, such all false position but less high recall, and that means avoids all the false absences. In the discussion part of the part in this research paper, they are discussing that it is a semi-automated system which is based on a drone thermal imaging and deep learning method can accurately identify the nest of medium-sized ground nesting birds on arable lands. So then in the this is a second image on the right side. It's a schematic representation on the key steps of this study. The first in the A, they were collecting the data. That means images which collecting using the remote sensing and drones with the thermal sensors. And the B part, they were pointing out the coordinates and collecting the image for the image annotation. And in the C part, they were uploading it into a network form to process the whole data. And in the D part, they were getting the results. Okay, so this is the last one, the last research paper which using this artificial intelligence in image annotations also done for this. Sorry, could you go back to the previous slide? Okay, for locating the birds nests on agricultural lands. Okay, next slide. So this is few such successful applications which is developed using AI. One is a penguin watch. Penguin watch is a citizen science project that captures us the time-lapse pictures of penguin colonies using fixed cameras in several locations in Antarctica. And it's very useful so that we can study the effect of climate change and human disturbance to the penguins. So for in Antarctica, it's not so very easy to go there, to stay up there. So these fixed cameras will be so helpful in such a way. And then the wild books is another applications. The Vasu is already shared about what that wild book is, but I also saying that sharing that it's an open source platform, and they were using the photographs of skin patterning behind the gills of each sharks, which is uniquely identified. whale sharks from a public photograph submitted from an ocean scientist. So it is also kind of a citizen science project that the people go for ocean sightings. They were when sighting an shark, they were take the pictures. They can upload into this platform. It's an open source platform and can be useful for an identification of whale sharks. Then next is an Save the Elephant. It's an organization which successfully doing in the African countries. It's a vast area, so the managing is so difficult. The trespassing, poaching, everything is so difficult to manage. So in that, this AI is being used that anti-poaching aircrafts captures the continuous shots of aerial pictures of the landscape. This is an image which is placed in this slide. This is an aerial shot on the left side with the elephants are marked in the squares, and AI detection on the right side, that the whole landscape is being recorded in the air using aircrafts. Okay, then next is a connected conservation. Connected conservation is launched in 2015 and is a very successful in connecting the ranges. That means connected conservation is a kind of combination of digital data mapping of transmitting of tourist traffic, thermal imaging, CCTVs to share and control the information among the ranges who are connected via multiple devices. Okay, so there is a connected conservation, so it will be very helpful in conservation parts in national parks in every world to connect between the ranges. Then next is the wild track footprint identification technique that's simply called FIT. It's a tool for non-invasive monitoring of endangered species through digital images of footprints. Then in India also, the artificial intelligence is successfully done, and Tiger Census of 2018, which is noted by Guinness Record as well. It used M-Stripes is a monitoring Android application. It's called the monitoring system for tigers' intensive protection and ecological status for collecting, archiving, and analyzing the data. So these are some applications and the successful things of using artificial intelligence, not only in the worldwide, but also successfully using in the India too. That is a Guinness record we all got from Tiger Census of 2018 using the M-Stripes application. So I'm like to conclude this AI as an newest and next level approach. You should consider for conservation as a loss of biodiversity exceeds much than we think, and we are not aware how much it means to us. So for understanding that how much it means, we want to use this AI for studying the ecosystem services also. In any way we need the AI. So everyone, so join hands for conservation smartly. Thank you. So we can go for any questions or sections like that. Any doubts you can share. It's like an simple talk way. Is anyone having any doubts? We can simply approach. If we know, we will surely share. Anyone having? And informing and like to share that AI is actually having a good way of things. Means AI have a lot of benefits in the biodiversity conservation, economic development planning, but informing that if it is not properly used, properly managed, this AI can also be a threat. So it should remind. I'm just reminding you that AI should be properly managed. Then living with you guys. Any doubts?
Yeah, Anjusha, actually in between Shamik, I think he raised his hand. He wanted to ask something or what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Tell me.
I was actually like, we have all this artificial like technology. Like, is it actually in being used properly, or are these just
Probably, sorry, what did you say? Probably? I didn't hear that. Sorry.
are these projects in plan?
Are we in the project in planning? The
Like
voice
we're
is
working, right?
breaking, that's why I'm sorry.
Like all these projects that we just like all these users and stuff we just discussed right now, all of this is being implemented, right? And so like what funding, I mean, how do we manage the funding and stuff for like the expensive stuff?
Okay, fine. These like Save the Elephants, Connected Conservation, these are government funded projects. So the many companies approaching with this AI, like Graminer, Microsoft is developing. The Wild Book is an
You disconnected.
Yeah, there's some network issue from Anjusha's side. She just left. She'll be joining back soon. Till then, Vashu, would you like to answer what Samik said? And there's one more question in the chat box from Nishtha.
Yes, please.
Okay, so Nishtha's question is, how many of these programs or applications are used in India?
See, in India, I already said there is less programs and less, but Indians are working on it. See, I told you about a Microsoft version which was for algorithms and testing, that was Azure. Indians are trying to keep that technology in India from US, and I also described this thing that in Asia and China it started working, but in India it's yet to work. There are only some basic techniques we can say, not fully AI developed technique. Okay, I hope you got your answer. If you have anything, please ask.
Okay, so other participants also, if you have any more question, kindly put it up in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself also if you want to.
Is there any other questions?
Okay, so I think we can do one thing. Till the questions come, maybe you can start with that event you were talking about.
So everyone, we have this fun activities. We call it as know your surroundings. If anyone of you, like if all of you join this activity, we would be happy that that we are happy that we convey the message we were trying to convey. So give me a minute. I'll share the PPT. So, well, isn't there any question? Are there any questions? If there is, you can ask, and then we can start this activity.
But I'm sorry guys, I just lost the connection. So trouble with the laptop, so it got stuck. I can't leave and so that I can rejoin. So that's the thing. Is that question cleared by Vasu? Is that done?
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear, Anjusha.
Okay, okay, Vasu. Okay, thanks.
Okay. So we have this fun activity. It's we call Know Your Surroundings. So I'm hoping that everyone will participate. It's kind of dumb arts game where we will be showing you the pictures and you have to guess the name. That's it. We are waiting for a response in the chat box. So what do you think? What's the name of this flower?
I don't know the English name, but I do know the Marathi name.
Okay, please go ahead.
I guess Gandhari.
Gandhari. Okay. Anyone else? No one knows the name?
What?
One of you can keep a tap on the chat box as well. We've started getting answers in the chat box.
Oh, okay. So Dhananjay and Nikita will keeping the track of chat box.
Yeah, because we've started getting answers in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, so answers are coming as lantana camera.
Yeah, right. Its name is Lantana camera. This is a very popular flower which is poisonous and have medications used as well. Then, what do you think? Which animal
African
is?
cheetah.
You're right.
Great hornbill.
And what is this?
Camera trap.
Okay, so you all know camera trap? Well, we are happy to announce that we are going to have a workshop on these kind of tools where we will be discussing about camera trap and other tools which we use in monitoring, mapping, analyzing the data. But it's actually difficult to learn about them, such that's using theory, and we need a proper education for them and proper methodology kind of thing. So we are going to briefly discuss about these things, like where we can discuss about QGIS, Google Earth, and we can discuss about USGS portal. So it will be great if you all be there. What we call this map? What kind of map it is?
Land use, land cover
You're right. So you know how we make this map?
through softwares like QGIS, ArcGIS, and all.
And we are going to discuss those tools as well. This will be really great if you all attend that webinar as well. We'll be happy to have you there. What is this? Everyone know about this, I guess.
GPS.
Yes, GPS. GPS is kind of not easy thing if we learn it from YouTube, or the same goes for camera trap. Actually, I tried learning it from YouTube, but nothing happened. So we will be conducting virtual tour on GPS and camera traps. Is it exciting? I think it is. So this is the last one, I guess.
Great flamingo.
Yeah. So greater flamingo is the state bird of which state? Does anyone know? Actually, greater flamingo shows some kind of threats we can use, like What is the sign of if greater flamingo is present in a pond, or what can we predict about that pond? Anyone knows?
May I try?
Yes, please.
So the greater flamingos, they actually get their pink coloration from the type of food they eat. So by that we can tell that the type of minerals that they're needing are in the soil or in the food that they're getting, which means it's cycling.
Exactly. And it's done. So thank you so much for your responses. Thank you so much for your positive responses. What happened? Okay. So I'm here to welcome you all in our future workshop, where we will be discussing about different tools which we use in nature. That tools can be USGS. We all know about USGS. I mean, those person who use GIS, of course. USGS basically a site where we find the satellite images through which we do land use and land cover changes. Camera trapping is an important tool which we use in wildlife monitoring, and it's actually a major tool in today's era. It works on thermal temperature, of course. Everyone knows about it. And if you want to know more about it, then please join our workshop. So this was the fun activity. Thank you so much for joining this. Now, if you have any other questions, please go ahead. We are waiting for a positive response and your questions. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
Also, I would like to tell you all that there's a feedback form given in the chat. So it will be great if you all just fill up and give us your thoughts so that we can work on it better.
Yes, it will be really helpful for us, and we will really happy to have your feedbacks.
So
Who's sharing the feedback forms?
Ma'am, Anjusha shared it right now.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
No, ma'am. Okay.
Because I am receiving some direct messages that the feedback form is not there.
Okay, ma'am. Just a minute, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
So it's already shared in the chat box now. So the feedback form is in the chat box, everyone.
Okay, everyone. We are waiting for a positive response. Till then, let me briefly explain you what are we planning for our workshop. Well, this event we are performing right now, this is a promotional event. We are coming with more events. Our next event is a 3 days workshop involving tools and technologies towards management of environment. The perk is it also includes a virtual tour, so you can visit the field even sitting in the field with the feeling of that field. I hope I'll see you all there. We have early bird offers for first 10 participants, and we'll inform you about the same in the group and through different sites like we inform you about this event. I hope you'll be all joining that event too.
Okay, so since we are not receiving any more questions, I think that is it for today.
So give them some time so that they can fill the feedback form.
Okay. Okay, we can do one thing. We can give the link in the WhatsApp group also. If okay, let's just wait for a few minutes.
Everyone, please just try to fill the form before leaving the meeting. That will be more feasible.
And also, if they want, they can just copy the form link and
Yeah.
they-
That's also a good option.
I'm done with
You guys-
filling. May I leave?
Okay. Thank you, Shamik.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great session.
And the flamingo is the state bird of state of Gujarat, not Rajasthan.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the vote of thanks, first of all, we are grateful to the Nature's Eye for providing us with this opportunity. I would like to thank our speakers, Ms. Vashu Verma and Ms. Anjusha Suki, for making an excellent presentation and making this seminar very meaningful and interesting. And also, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to be here today and for listening to the speaker. We are happy to have you, have everyone here with us. And once again, I would like to mention the 3-day workshop will be organized. As Vashu said, she also told in quite detail. It also includes a virtual tour, keep in mind, so you can experience the feeling of visiting the field while at the comfort of your home. And please note, we are having discounts for our early birders, that is for the first 10 participants, and we'll be really happy to have you all with us in the workshop. Interested participants, you are requested to keep in touch with us, and we'll be updating the full details very soon. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you all again.
okay, Nikita, so we can wind up the session, right?
Can I add something to this?
Yes, please.
Sorry, I didn't get this.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, Aditi.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session patiently. And also, I would like to thank the Nature's Eye team for helping us everywhere, like showing us this path and guiding us everywhere we needed. So, big vote of thanks for Nature's Eye team. And yeah, for everyone, those who are involved in this team and helping us with the presentation and everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aditya. We would like to have a talk with the team after the session winds up. Aman, we are done with the session. You can stop the recordings.